1600 AD. So this is a long period of 1,000 years, and this period of the Muslims from 600 to 1600 AD is known as the period of alchemist. Chemistry. This chemistry is considered an Islamic science by all means. In European language, or the word chemistry had not even been invented in any language or civilization before the Islamic civilization. Neither ancient Egyptian civilization nor the Greek civilization had this word. And in European languages, the word chemistry is written as alchemia or alchemy. It is well-known fact that every Latin word that starts with L has an Arabic origin, like algebra, alcohol, etc. So this is a pure Islamic science. Greeks and Muslims. The main difference between them is that they were talking about theoretically. They were talking theoretically, like nothing was experimental or nothing was tested, while Muslim made this subject as an experimental subject, like experimental science. This was their contribution. Okay, principal goals of the Muslim chemists were. There were three basic principal goals of all the Muslim chemists. And they were, the first one is to find out methods to prolong life. Like they were looking for different things in order to cure the different diseases, to prolong the human life, the span of human life. Second was they were looking for ways to change base metals such as lead, copper, tin, etc. into gold. We said that they were looking in order to convert the base metals into gold. But what are base metals? These base metals, they are those metals that cannot be converted to gold. They were not able to convert the base metals into gold, and later on Boualissine also said that none of the metal can be converted into gold. But this leads to most of the contributions to the field of chemistry. Their next principal goal was to find physical evidences to support religious and philosophical beliefs. Now, what is philosophy? Philosophy is basically when we start doubting something, we question and we wonder. When we look for answers, so that is basically the philosophical beliefs. We can say that the Muslims based their alchemy upon the Aristotelian idea of 4 elements and attempted to integrate them with their beliefs in Allah and their studies in psychology, medicine and physics. They were looking to find a grand universal theory that described the whole of the perfect creation. Yeah, they failed in doing so. Basically, we are talking about the base metals conversion into gold. But they laid the foundation of the laboratory methods. And all those laboratory methods, they are still used in the modern chemistry. And some of them are used unchanged. Okay, what were the major discoveries that Muslim scientists made? They were that they discovered different elements, and they are, for example, arsenic, antimony and bismuth. They are some of the elements that are being discovered by those Muslim scientists in the period of alchemists. And different laboratory techniques, for example, laboratory instruments like funnels, crucibles, distillation flask and variety of such instruments. What is funnel? This is basically used in order to separate something, or we want to pass something from, so it is wide at the top and narrow at the bottom. Crucibles, these are the pots of clay or other refractory material, and they are used when high degree heat is required in order to melt something or like this. So different chemical processes like filtration, fermentation and distillation were also discovered by the Muslim scientists in the period of alchemists. Filtration, this is basically a separation technique in which two insoluble substances are separated from one another. Fermentation, this fermentation is a chemical process, and by this the molecules such as glucose etc. they are broken down, but by the involvement or the use of a microorganism is there. Microorganism like yeast, bacteria etc. are used, and this process take place in the absence of oxygen. Mostly, in most of the cases, it take place in the absence of oxygen. For example, we look at this example, that is sugar, and when yeast is added to it in the absence of oxygen, it will result in the formation of carbon dioxide and alcohol. This is fermentation. Distillation. This distillation is to purify certain substances based on their difference in their boiling point. All the liquids, they don't have the same boiling point, so they can be separated through the process of distillation. In this, first heating is involved and then we cool it. So this is essential, meaningful chemical processes that were discovered by the Muslim scientists, and all these provide basis for the modern chemistry. And from that we can say that Muslim scientists presented chemistry as purely experimental or practical science.